Okay, so this is nice. They tell you the technique to use. Normally you'd have to try to factor it first and find out that it can't be factored. So for completing the square, first we're going to get an x squared plus something x on one side. In this case, we would have to move the 3 over to the other side in order to get that. We're going to get x squared plus 4x. Move the 3 over to the other side by adding 3 to both sides. I like to use a different colored pen and leave space to complete the square. So we're going to leave some space there to complete the square. And we're going to think about FOIL for factoring. If I completed the square, what would be in here so that when I FOIL it out, I get x squared plus 4x? X plus 2. And then in the green spot, what would go there? 4, because if you squared x plus 2 times x plus 2, the last ones, the 2 times 2, would become 4. Now, if I add 4 to one side of an equation, I no longer keep it balanced, so I have to add 4 to the other side of the equation, giving me 7 on that side. What pattern is always going to be from here to here? Divide by 2. Because if you want your outside, if it's a perfect square, like x plus 2, can you see that because all the numbers are the same, your outside and inside are going to be the same?
Oh, yeah.
And if your outside and inside are going to be the same, then this is always double what they would have been. And so that part, as a pattern, will always be half. It'll always divide by 2 because look at the, no matter what equation you have, look at the last one that we just did. I'll scroll back up to that one. Right? We had a 6, right? It had to be a 3. Divide by 2, because they'll have to be the same. They'll always be 3, halfway. That's example 1. Here we're back to example 2. So now we have got it to something squared, x squared just by itself. That goes back to our example 1 where we've isolated the x squared. We can now square root both sides. Square root this side, square root this side. Don't forget the plus or minus. And then subtract 2 on both sides. We can't simplify that square root anymore. We are done. Well, they get a little harder if there's a number in front. It just adds fractions and a little bit of nastiness that way. But I'll give you some time to practice these first. 5, 8, and 9. And in about 10 minutes, we'll start with example 3 and 4.